Okay, I've been asked to do a video, or a couple of videos actually, on my chainsaw. I've got the wife's chainsaw and I got my son's chainsaw. I am no expert at all. I think I've been on one course which was compulsory when I was a younger lad, but I've used them a lot. If you want to know more about them, or if you're going to get one, I would advise looking locally for a local course. They do them and they're well worth going on. That said, I'm just going to show you through the basics, which I've been asked to do by a mate of mine because he wants one. He's going to do a course, so it's up to him. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start off. This is the chainsaw. Okay, this is what it looks like. I know it's a bit, this is for total beginners. He is a total beginner. Okay, this end, I'm going to be really stupid here. This is the sharp end. Okay, this is the power. This is the power end. This is what makes that thing spin around. Okay, I'll get into it more details in a little bit. Okay, this end needs to be powered by fuel. This is the fuel tank. Okay, there's none in it at the moment. I hope not. Anyway, so they're all much the same. They've all got like a tank at the front normally, and a tank at the back, and a tank at the front. I will explain. So the one at the back, mine just twists. No fuel in it, so it needs a bit of fuel. Okay, so putting back on, that locks into position. Okay, this is the Stealth, by the way. You probably guessed it. It's the MS171. I've got a couple more I'll show you, but I just want to prove that they're all virtually the same. Sorry about that. So at the front, this is the oil tank. What that does, that lubricates this chain, which I'll show you in a sec. If there's any oil in this, let me have a look. Sorry, hands in the way. There's a little bit in there, but not a lot, so that needs topping up. So you need to keep an eye on that. All right, it's just common sense, to be honest with you. Oh, I haven't put that back in properly. 2 seconds. It'll only go on one way anyway, so sorry, my hands are a bit slimy. Right, so there we go. So to start with, fuel tank at the back, oil tank at the front. Oil tank lubricates this nasty little beast. Okay, this is a 14-inch blade and a 14-inch, well, probably longer than that, 14-inch blade with your chain, which shoots around this at a hell of a pace. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So I know I'm going to get people saying, oh, you're all wrong. I probably am. I don't really care. This is just for a mate of mine and beginners. Okay, total beginners. This chain can't be absolutely tight against this blade because it'll just get too hot. Okay, so it's got to have a little bit of play, not a great deal. That's probably a little bit too much. Okay, so a little bit of play. And the idea of this oil tank, it lubricates via a hole at the back here, and I think it's self-feed, but someone else can correct me on that one. I believe it's just gravity fed, and that lubricates by a little hole at the side. You can't see it because it's behind this shield, this here, which is an adjuster. You can adjust mine by undoing this bolt and turning that with a flat-headed screwdriver, and this will either slacken or tighten the chain. Okay, this is going to be very basic, people, so if you're used to chainsaws and you're expert, I suggest you just switch off. Yeah, so that said, oil, fuel. The fuel mixture is important because these are 2 strokes. So the fuel mixture, I will now tell you what I do, and I will pop that in the video now. Okay, off the garage, I'm going to get diesel in the black, common sense, so that's why I bought the black one. And the green one is your standard petrol can, except I wrote on it 2-stroke. There's the E there. So another little tip I thought I'd let you into. I bought these off eBay, and they are exactly the right amount of oil to fuel ratio for your 2-stroke engines. Well, mainly the new ones nowadays, which is your chainsaws and whatnot. So this is what I bought. I bought about 5 of these. There was no need to, but they came like that. 50-to-1 mix. And what I'm going to do, open it up, pour it into the can, and then fill this up to the top with petrol, standard petrol. That gives me the 2-stroke mix. Do not throw this away. A bit of a tip here for you, because if you buy 2-stroke in the larger amounts, it's cheaper, and all you do is fill one of these back up again, and then when you're out, take this with you, fill of 2-stroke oil, pour it into there, mixture again. So these are really handy to keep. A little bit of a tip there. Okay, so I'm going to go and get some fuel now. Okay, there you go. Diesel full. Ah, I didn't spill a drop. So I thought they might have to pay for one and do the other one separate because it was on the same pump, you know, diesel and then petrol. But no, she said it's alright, we can have them both together. There we go. So yeah, little tip for you for your oil. Okay. So I'll show you. You can see that in the video. It'll come up now. Next thing to look at is we have on the top called a brake or a clutch. Okay, whatever you want to call it. I'd call it a brake. Okay, this actually stops this chain from spinning around. Okay, and that'll lock it in position and that'll release it. I do believe. Lock it in and it won't go anywhere. Pull it back and it releases it. Okay, and that would happen if you hit something as well, your hand falls forward or whatever, but it's an emergency brake. Okay, and that locks totally. Right, next, this is not a toy, and it shouldn't be. Well, it's up to you who handles it, but it shouldn't be left for your kids or anything. I'm sorry, but it shouldn't be. This is definitely not a toy. This will cause seriously body damage and body harm. So what I have a pair of trousers which I bought specially for them. Well, my wife bought them for me, and they clog this chain up. So they got special material inside the trousers. So if this catches your leg or anything, and don't get me wrong, you've got to be careful. This will drag all the material out of your trousers. It might cause a little bit of damage, but it's better than none, and they are protective trousers, and it'll drag the material and jam this. Okay, it'll all pack inside here and jam. That's one. So I have trousers, I have a jacket, I also have a high vis to let people know that I am using the chainsaw and they can see me. I also have protective ear muffs. I also have an helmet with a face guard on, and it's up to you, you can wear goggles as well. All right, so that is a must, absolute must. Other basic stuff is for starting. So it says here it's pretty straightforward. You've got your stop and then you put it right down. If you pull this lever in here, this is like an accelerator. So this is your accelerator anyway, but there's a lever at the top. So you push that down, push this in, and then this locks it into position. So when you're firing it up, okay, this will hold it into an accelerated position, and then this is the choke. So when you pull it and fires, once it fires, it might just fire once as well, you know, just a quick, I'll give you a demo, and then it'll just sort of kick out because it's choked. So you release it, put this onto the next level up, fire again, that'll get it going, and then you should be able to rev and it should be fine. See that move then? Okay, so then you lift it up, and then as you do it, it releases it, and you should be able to rev now. To turn it off, straight up. All right, behind this little device is, pull it back. On mine, this is my air filter. I'll be giving this a service. Okay, I'll be doing it new plugs, clean all this filter out. I will not, I'll blow it with an air line, but first of all I'll take all this off and I'll blow this out separate, and then I'll just make sure all these holes are covered up so you don't get any muck inside the actual engine. All right, I'm not going to go any more detail with that for that sort of thing. The next vid I will do, if anybody's interested, is I will do one on sharpening. Sorry, we have a ghost just walked in. Okay, I will do one on sharpening them, and if you just quickly, if I just zoom in for you, you'll see this. Alright, so if you look at these blades, if you can see, you've got one going one way, which is the cutting blade, and the other one on the opposite going, see it, that one there. So you sharpen one sort of at this angle, you can see that right there. So if you sharpen one at this angle, I will do this in another video, and you sharpen that one that way, it's tricky, but once you see me do it, you'll see. Very hot at the front here, and exhaust. That's your exhaust at the front. Let me zoom back out again. Let's go number 1. There we go. This is your exhaust, so don't touch that. That's very hot. I know people are thinking, oh, it's stupid, but this is just a basic video for people who are thinking of getting a chainsaw. Okay, keep them clean. This will all be cleaned up because we've been using it a lot. I'll just show you. I know it sounds daft. I'll show you my wife's. She's got one, and so is my son. The teeth at the front here. What are these are for? So if you've got a log underneath here, and you're cutting a log, this will then stick into the log, and you can drag your saw in a position where it helps you cut through the log. You'll learn all this if you go on a course. I recommend a course, absolutely. Okay, mine's the 171. My wife is a slightly newer one. Okay, this is the 170, but it is newer. So you've still got the same thing, same principle. Fuel tank at the back, and you've got your oil feed at the front. Okay, I haven't got to do much to this. I'll give it a blowout and a clean with the airline. It hasn't done much work. It's a cracking bit of kit. This is virtually new. I don't know what date's on it. Is there a date on there? Does it say? Maybe, I don't know. You may have to work that one out. Oh, sorry. There we go. Is there a date? I don't know. Anyway, I bought it last year, I think. Could be the year before because it was COVID, wasn't it? Anyway, so that's that one. Now we've got another one, which is another still. So that one's a still 170. So this one is a slightly bigger one. This is my lad's. And you can see someone's already changed the blade. You don't have to go for the originals. You can get blades. I've ordered a blade for mine. This is the blade. I'm calling this the blade. Or I don't know, I'm going to call it the blade. And I've also ordered a chain, and for my still, it's not a genuine make, but this was £10 for a blade and 2 chains. £10 for both. This looks like it's had a bit of stick. Look, I think they've been worn away by the look of it. So I don't know if he wants to do about that. I don't know if you can get that. Anyway, so this is quite an old one. You'll see same sort of principle again, like mine. Fuel tank at the back, which it tells you, look, fuel and oil mixture, and at the front just oil. All right, he wants me to do a good service on this and get it clean. Same principle with the starting. See, you've got your choke, and then you've got your mechanism. So you choke, when it fires, put it at 1, then it releases it, and then that's your off button. Okay, I believe this is his air filter. I've not even looked at this. I daren't. Let's have a look so I can get this off. I don't know, I might have to have another look. No, I'll leave it for now. I'll have a look when it comes to servicing. I'll show you that as well. Same principle, brake, lock. How they work on the chain system is in here. I'll just roughly say, well, inside here is a fan. I don't know if you can see that. If you can see that little, I don't think it won't turn as I pull it. Just watch carefully. See that? Okay, that's a fan that cools the engine, and then on this side, it's all basic stuff. Behind here is something called a centrifugal clutch, and zoom out. That works on the same principle as a. Let's have a think. I can put this quite. You know your brake shoes on a car, and you've got a drum. Okay, and inside that drum you've got shoes, and when you apply the brakes, the shoes come out, and that's what stops you. You've got pads as well. So on the modern cars, really modern cars, you've got pads, but it's the same principle. So these have got a drum in them. These have got a drum inside here with pads on them each side, and the faster you rev, these spin out, and what they do, they spin out and grip this piece of metal. I'm going to call it piece of metal, just a cylinder. And as the more it spins and the tighter it becomes, then this chain moves. That's the principle. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and a like. There is more to come. I quite enjoy doing this sort of stuff. I'm going to do a full service on mine. I'm going to clean my wife's, and I'm going to do a full service on this one and sharpen the chain. I think that's a little bit tight, maybe not, I don't know. I'll look into that. We'll give them a clean. So the next one will be another one, which will be as soon as possible. And yeah. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and a like. That's great. Take care, and we'll catch you next video. Not to mention, not an advert, nothing to do with them. My lad bought me these about 4 years ago. Yes, at least 4 years ago. And I thought, oh right, okay, they are brilliant. They have had some stick and they're still going strong. These are leather, they're padded, they're not to protect your hands. Well, they protect your hands from like scratches and whatnot from the wood, but mainly it's just good grip. They're good grip, they're leather, they're right in the wet as well, so, and they dry really nicely. So a pair of steel gloves I recommend. Okay, that's what I wanted to put on. Cheers.